Hey everybody, this is Michael from I'm Just a Pour Boy. I'm glad to see you guys again. Welcome to this pour. It is a 60 by 70 canvas. I've already checked the back and taped everything off. I've pinned everything. I've also put it on the table and marked it to make sure that everything was good and level, also important. And because it's a tree ring pour and the paints are a little bit thicker, it's going to be a little bit harder to get coverage on the sides of the painting. So this evening I have already painted red on the side so that even if there's places where paint doesn't drip off, we'll still have enough coverage that we don't have to worry about it. Let's talk about the colors. You've seen these colors in painting video number 1. But tonight you're just going to see 4 of them. First one is good old Naphthol red, nice, just basis red. The second one here, you'll see it here. It's deeper, you'll see, than the first one. It's a little bit more subtle on camera, but it's a little stronger in real life. And that is carmine, and I mixed it with a little bit of the permanent red violet. All of these paints so far from Amsterdam. Love Amsterdam. Next is this graphite color. Now, because I cut the colors down and I'm looking for contrast, I wanted this graphite to be a little bit darker. So I took the graphite from Amsterdam and I did put in just a little bit of lamp black just to make it darker. And you probably can't see it on camera, but when I look, it's still got beautiful metallic effect, but it's darker. So I think I put in maybe less than 10% black to the graphite because you don't want to drown it out. And the last one, really to contrast the red and the pewter, I really think it should be like a white or a pearl. So I did this. It's a mix of two things, and I think on the camera you're not going to see it perfectly how it glimmers, but it's like, oh, it's pearly and it's metallic and it's a little iridescent. That's right, because I used all 3. I used from Arctic's Acrylics the metallic white, and I also used some of this beautiful, this was my swipe color in video number 1, iridescent pearl, and mixed those together and made a new color. So these paints are all a little bit thicker than I normally use in a pour. When I put it on, it leaves a nice mound. It stays there just for a second before disappearing. It's a pretty good consistency, but for this technique, you want them all to be a little bit thicker so that they don't mix on the canvas. Yeah, yeah, that graphite's lovely. And I'm going to pour these, stack them in a cup, and then pour them onto the canvas. Now, the other secret I'm going to use tonight, which I didn't do with my first series, was to keep the colors from mixing in the cup, because you need quite a bit of paint. I saw someone online and I was like, that's a great idea. You don't need to put it all in one cup. You can actually spread it out. And last night I did that. I spread my colors into 4 different cups, and boy, that worked like a charm. I just poured my first spiral, got it out of there, and then started in the middle. So I've already bent a little spout into my cups. So the first thing I'm going to do is stack these colors. I'm going to start with this deep red. I'm going to put just a little bit of this in the bottom. Always remember that when you're pouring from a cup, the first color you pour will be the last color out of the cup. So this will be the middle of your spiral. And because Mrs. B wants red to be her main color, I want that to be there. So I'm not so worried about anything right now except just making sure there's enough red to just cover the bottom of this. I'll take a look in a minute. That might not be enough, but I also don't want to overdo it because I don't want to end up with a big red circle in the middle either. So We're now going to pour some of this black, and we're going to do it alongside the side of the cup so it doesn't splash directly onto the red. And then we just tilt it so that it then now goes over the red. First alongside the cup, I want it plunging into that red, and then once we get some in there, we can just shift it over and it goes. So you can see the pour better from the side camera, but you can see the effect better that you achieve from the top camera. So I'll cut a little bit of both of these into the video. Special effects, editing. I've always had respect for editing, but didn't really have a whole lot of interest in it. But the last few years, as I've become a public speaker and trainer, I've had to make some videos. I've just found it's easier to put my own stuff together, and as long as I don't have to do anything super complicated, I'm fine. And I've done some really good stuff. So, and these YouTube videos that don't have to be complicated, and I'm really enjoying putting them together, speeding some things out, editing myself. Sometimes I go, oh, Michael, no one cares about what you just said. I also like doing these time-lapse videos. Some people like, I like to see it, I just don't have time to sit for 20 minutes and go through a whole video. So I do these time-lapse one, and people go, oh, I see how it's done in just 4 minutes. I even cut more out of that, just so that the pace keeps moving. But that's fun. So now this beautiful bright red is going on top of this black, or graphite, I'm calling it black, but now some people go, oh, you dripped on your canvas. No big deal. It's all going on the canvas anyway. I will wipe that just a little bit before I start pouring. So now am I going to go straight in with the white pearl and be bold on top of this red? Is it thick enough to withstand? Yes, I'm going to risk it. Because I don't want to end up with, pink either. It seems thick enough that it's going to be fine. I've got way too much paint, I can tell. This new pouring medium to make these thicker mixes, boy, I put the ratios together and I think, okay, and then I'll add a little water. And I can't believe how much water I'm adding to get it to the right consistency. That I go, oh, I end up with like a third more paint than I planned. And I did not learn my lesson today. But that's okay. These paints will go into a bottle and they will serve me well another day. Because these are all pearl, red, the graphite, not maybe as much as often, but still they're all colors that I use in paintings. Just stirring it up a little bit. So the cups are all basically the same. I moved this one over here because at one point I poured an awful lot of white in there, and the color of power, I should say, or the power of the color should be red, graphite, white. So this one I'm going to pour first because the chances that the most of that will then fall off the canvas. Yeah. All right, guys, here we go with the first cup. Now, got my little spout in there. Don't want it too big, but the secret is stay in the middle, and in the beginning, just let the paint fall, and then keep your spout close to the
canvas, and then you're going to see me start making these spirals. Here we go.
Pour a little bit stronger. You get a little bit more force and you get less of the jagged shape. I want the, see there, we're getting into that pink world. Hopefully that's going to be okay with that pearl. Now most of this is going to go off anyway, but I'm not real happy with how jagged those lines were. I'm going to maybe pour a little bit gentler on the next one. Got another attempt to figure it out. Now the secret here is I'm still pouring. You get this paint, I'm still circling. What you don't want is for there to be like a drip at the end. So I'm just going to keep circling as this goes out. I'm going to get my finger ready. Great. No drip. So when it first starts pouring, you always get a little bit of this like ziggy-zaggy effect, and that's fine. But as I get towards the middle and I start my spiral, I really want less of that. And today, that was not happening. So let's see what happens with the next one. First, just pour, let it go. Sometimes I just maybe turn to change some patterns. That looks lovely as it's coming out. There we go, that's better. Nice big spirals now. A lot of gray there. I think what I'm going to do first is just stretch this out a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to leave this camera on for as long as I can. So I'm going to start by moving it slowly in a kind of a lazy circle. Just start stretching out the colors, stretching out the rings, getting the paint flowing on the canvas, moving kind of as a unit as well. So I like this middle here, but this swirl, I want to force it a little bit more. Nice. Okay, I came down here So the weight of it's down here. Okay, nice. So this is a great start. Now this is my flow extender. This is basically just my cheap white paint that I've mixed down, and I've got it into a pretty fluid consistency. Not super, it's not mounding, so it's going straight in. And what I do with this is you just, get my spout again, we're just going to pour this on the outside edge. It's going to go right up against there. Don't worry, we're going to tilt all of this white off. But by making a connection with this and having this lighter fluid to work with, you're going to see that this thicker paint in a moment is going to be able to move more off the canvas. And instead of rolling over itself, you can kind of glide over this white. So circle around. So for this I don't use Amsterdam, I just use like a cheap local brand. You're not going to see any of it. It's all going to be tilted off the canvas anyway, but it's just what we call FE flow extender, and that literally is what it does. It's gonna, you saw that when as I was tilting, it's like, oh, it's not really moving much anymore. Well, get ready. Well, I say get ready. It's not like suddenly it's gonna like move like the Flash. Here we go. I'm gonna start move my canvas back just a little bit this way. Here we go. The paint in the middle has been settling, so it's been sitting there. It's got to gather its momentum again. I'm probably blocking this telephone cam. Well, this is that black I was talking about. I don't want to lose too much of it, but I have to get up here. There we go. I'm not going to worry about covering that color completely yet. But now, because this is covered, when I start moving again, you'll see that black is going to stretch. There we go. That's what I'm putting all my faith in right now. Nice. Okay. And now I'm just going to wipe my hands real quick. I'm going to put it underneath this corner here. I'm going to lift. Almost vertical this way. No, it's not a very good angle for me. It feels very strange, so I'm just going to quickly move the canvas here. I'm dripping on my this coming out. One of the pins. Okay, that's better. Still not the best view, but at least now you can see something, I think. right here there's this little kidney shape, and I go, God, I wish there were more of a deep red presence in there. And guess what? Now there is. Okay guys, I'm now going to make sure I do the important job of scraping my undersides. I'm going to take you in for a close-up now. Oh yeah guys, I'm really happy looking at it from that distance, but even close, look at this. I mean, this jagged corner, I love this. Sorry about the lighting there. The not quite into the center spiral, like this curve here, this whole back edge, this long white, black, red running off, lovely black, red in that corner there, fantastic. This corner here, absolutely love all of the thin colors line, and this fun little, well, there's this little hiccup here, which is kind of fun, but here I love, oh, I love it. Some great shapes. As I said, I think this is going to be the bottom of the canvas over here. And but as I said, it's a custom, so it's up to the customer. I always make my opinion known. But these details turned out, so it truly is third time's a charm. I love it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll keep you up to date, and I will also make a time lapse of this one as well. Thanks for joining me, and happy painting. Actually, I can't say that. That's Bob Ross's. But have a good, enjoy painting.